Hi, Debbie here with my first design team project for July. And as you all know, this one was suggested to me to make a vintage style altered box by Lynn Bentley and Gypsy Girl Crafts by Pamela. So that is what I did. And what I used to do these boxes was I used some of the bridle trim that I got. I just cut pieces out that I needed. I used some of this real pretty trim here. And I used some of this real pretty cotton trim here. And everything that I used besides the box is from Craft Supplies for You. And there will be a link in the description box below where you can go to the stores and find these for yourself. And this really pretty one right here. And then I've got this here. I used some of this trim here, and as you can see, I got some of it I really cut apart on that one. So I used some of that. Let me tilt this down a little bit so you can see everything. I can move it up. Here we go. I used some of these fabric flowers here. And some of these. These are paper flowers. Some of these fabric flowers. I use fabric and paper flowers together. And some of these rosebuds. And then I used one of these bouquet clusters, already done up. And I used some flat back pearl trim. Trying to think, and I used some of these white ones too, the little white rosebuds in the paper. And I used some of those. So I think that's what I used for my project. So let me show you. Now I do have, not to change the subject, I do tend to do shabby chic. So vintage was a little challenge for me because I was trying not to make it too, white or pastel. And so this is what I came up with. I only did the outside of the boxes. So this is the first one I did. And there's all the trim. And these I just popped off this trim here. I just cut the little pieces off of that. And then I put those on the little circles on each one of those. And there's a flat back pearl trim. There's some matte lace here. Here, oh, I did use a doily. I didn't show you that. I do have a doily under all that. And see, you can see where I cut out from the bridal applique and put those around. These are the flowers. So there's this one. I hope this would pass for vintage. So there's this one. And there's this one here. This is the one where I used the whole, the whole flower bouquet. And there I cut off one of those flowers from that trim. Some appliques. There's that trim. There's this one here. And that's how this one turned out. It turned out really pretty. And I didn't have any tea, but I did have coffee. So I actually coffee dyed or coffee stained all the trims and laces so they wouldn't be stark white, because I know vintage, they're not usually white colors, white. So I went ahead and dulled down the white a little bit. So these are my two vintage altered style boxes. And Lynn and Pamela, if you want me to send you a box, I will leave my email in the description box below, where you can send me your address so I can mail them out to you. So let's pick another one for my next project. So let's see what we've got here. So let's see what my next project is going to be. I think I got just one. Yep. Let's see what it is. Let's see, let's see, let's see. It is going to be a sachet pillow, and this was actually by Jeanette, who is my Cottage Crafts here on YouTube. Okay, Jeanette, that will be my next project. And there is going to be a little tutorial right after this if you want to see how I put the little boxes together. So if you want to watch that, you can. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Like right next. Bye. Okay, so these are the trims that I've used to alter these little boxes. And I did get, the same boxes that I'm going to use for both projects, but I'm only going to do a tutorial on one of them. So this is what I'm using here, is this applique trim here. And what I've done is I didn't have any tea, but I actually coffee dyed them so that you can see there is a difference. I just didn't want white, which is really what I normally would work with, but since these are vintage, I needed to tone down the white a little bit. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and coffee dyed a lot of these, just so that they're not so stark white. So there's this one, this trim I'm going to use, this one here, and that one I also coffee dyed it so you can see the difference in colors. I'm hoping you're picking up the difference there. So that's the one I'm going to use here. And then we have this one. And you can see, now this one didn't, color as well, but you can still see it is a little bit duller. So it did work a little bit. So I'm going to be using that one. And then we have this one, this cotton one, like this. Now that one really took to the coffee really a lot. So it came out looking like that. So I might have left this one a little bit too long, but I do like how it turned out, so I will be using that because I actually do like the color that it did turn out. And then we have this one here, this trim, and this is how this one turned out with the coffee dye, see? So that's what I'm going to be using there. I did coffee dye one of these, but I only had one of these. So, but as you can see, when I hold it up against something white, it did, because sometimes it's hard when you look at it, it's hard to tell that it actually changed colors until you put it up next to something white, and it's like, yep, it changed. So I will be using one of those. And I was thinking about using one of these little cat, I guess cameos you call them, these little, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I did go ahead and coffee dye one of these, just in case I did decide to use it. And then we have this right here. This I didn't have to dye because I actually like that cream color on this one, so I did that. And but this is what I have so far planned with the the laces, and the trims and the doily. Now as far as the flowers and beads and things like that, when I get to that part of the altering the little box, I'll let you know what I'm going to be picking out for that. So let me just get one box aside. So for this, and because these boxes, their lids are actually really tight, so I know I'm only going to be able to come up this far. I'm not going to be able to put anything on this side of the box, or my lid will not go back on, because it really is super tight. I don't even think I could put paper on it. And I'm actually going to leave these brown. I'm not going to, the craft color, I'm not going to paint them or anything like that, because I have to be real careful, because I know this is vintage. and I don't want to start heading off into the shabby chic is what I usually do, and I didn't want to turn this into that. I'm trying my best to keep this vintage, because I know I'm usually more of a shabby chic than I am a vintage, but I'm going to really try. And so so the first thing I'm going to do on this is I'm actually going to be using this trim here, and I am going to be putting it around the bottom of the little, like that. So I'm going to be doing that. And then on this piece right here, I have this little that I'm going to be putting around like that. And I actually really like that craft showing through. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you how this turns out. So we're going to go ahead and do those two steps first. And I'm going to put everything on my box with this 3-in-1 beacon glue. So that's what I'm going to be using to attach everything. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so this is what this looks like. And while I was doing this one, I went ahead and put my trims on this one too. So I'll probably do both of them at the same time. That way it'll be easier for me. So I don't know what I'm going to do on the bottoms yet. I'm going to go through my paper stash and see if I can find a piece of paper to just cover up the bottom here, or I'll just take this little tag off and just leave it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. And but right now let's work on the top of this one right here, because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one either. But this one, I have a plan. I have the little doily that I wanted to put here, and I went through all my flowers that I got from KS4U, and everything that I'm using is from KS4U except these little paper mache boxes. Those were from my stash. But I found this really cute, it's already done up bouquet, and I was thinking of putting that, you know, there's the doily, put this on top of the doily, and then I have that piece here, and I was thinking of draping, actually putting this on like that, and then draping that over the stem, so it will look like that. So this is my plan. So let me go ahead and put that on, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what it's looking like so far. So I got that on, and I got the little applique there. Now what I was thinking is, remember I got this trim here, was to cut one of these little pieces off and put it right in the center of that little flower, like that. And then it has these little you know, bling pieces. I was going to cut each one of those off individually and place those in the center of the little flowers on the side here. There's a couple of them. I think I got 2 on each side. I can put those in, or at least, yeah, 2 on each side. Do that. And also, I wanted to like fill this out a little bit more. I know it looks pretty full, but there's some areas here that I think I want to fill in, and I had these little rosebuds too. So I'm just going to clip off some of those and tuck them in little areas there. And so let me do that, and then I'll show you how it turns out. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. It's turning out really nice, but getting this flower off this was so crazy hard. Usually these Tim Holtz scissors will cut through anything, and I don't know if it's because I'm super weak or this metal and this is super strong, but I struggled with that. And as a matter of fact, some of these I just left on because what I want to do is, like I said, I took the flower off this one, and I'm going to use it here on this one. But on this box here, I wanted to use the little rhinestones that are in here. So I cut the ones that I could get to without too much trouble. And what I'm going to do with this box is I'm going to take the little rhinestones and I'm going to glue them to the, let me see if I can do that without losing that rhinestone, to the center of these little things here. See, they all have that little hole there. I was going to fill that in with one of the little rhinestones. So I snipped off 11 of those because I'll need 11 to go around this box here. And on this, I was originally going to put the rhinestones there, but I'm going to change my mind. And what I'm going to do is on this little flat back pearl chain that I have. What I'm going to do is I'll just cut a little pearl off, and then I'll just glue, you know, one here, one here, one here, one here on that one. So that's what I'm going to do for this box here. So let me do those things, and then I'll show you how they turn out. Okay, this is what this looks like. So I've got that all. I think this is actually going to be all I'm going to do with this little box. I don't, you know, I think it doesn't really need anything else. So this is how it turned out. It turned out really nice. So that's this one. Now on this one, I put the little cutouts from this chain here. I cut out all the little crystals, and I put those all through there, so they're still setting up a little bit more. And what I'm thinking of doing is with the little beaded trim, is maybe coming in, I gotta be careful not to hit those little crystals, and wrap it around there on that. So let me go ahead and do that, because I think that's going to look nice there. And then I'll see what I'm going to do about as far as what I'm going to do on the top of this box. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the beaded trim on it. So it's going to look like this. Now for the top, since these are going to two separate people, I'm not worried about them looking alike. Now if they're going to the same person, I wouldn't make them exactly the same. But what I did find another one of those little bouquet flower arrangements, so I'm going to actually use the other one. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is pretty much kind of like what I did here, but it's going to be like a little different. So I will put the doily on top, and then I cut out from the bridal applique, I cut out one of the flowers here, and I'm going to put that here. And then I cut out two of the little flowers, and I was going to put one here, and then one over on this side. And then the flower arrangement, I was going to actually put up facing down like that on this one. So kind of like that is what I have in mind for this. So let me go ahead and get that all on there, and I'll show you how it turns out. Of course, these are going to come down a little bit so you can see them. I don't want them hidden. And so I'll work on that, and then I'll show you how it turns out. Okay, so that's finished. I think that's all I'm going to do for the top of this box also. So I hope this can pass for vintage, because I really struggle with this one. I ended up putting some more of the little rosebuds in. I know they're white, but I wanted to add them to it anyway. And it kind of makes the rest of them pop out a little bit too. So that's this one and this one. And these were suggested to me by Lynn Bentley and Gypsy Girl Crafts by Pamela. So I will be getting these out to you as soon as I get your addresses, and my email will be in the description box below. And I want to thank all of you for watching. And everything that I use, like I said, can be at KS4U, and I will have their link and the members' links all in the description box below. Bye for now.